Onward is a pretty good movie. It's not the best Pixar movie ever, but honestly if it were, that would be quite the accomplishment. The studio's back catalog includes several of the most beloved and critically acclaimed animated films of all time, certainly of the last few decades. The film utilizes the tried and true Pixar formula. A couple of people who maybe don't quite see eye to eye or get along all that well are thrust together on some sort of journey or quest, in this case literally, in order to get to a place or find something or accomplish some goal before the ticking clock is up, discovering along the way new things about themselves and each other, with each of them growing as individuals and strengthening their relationship. There's a few wacky characters, some funny moments, some heartfelt moments, the all is lost moment, but in the end they both come out better for it.
Come, dear brother, our destiny awaits.
Okay, I'm coming.
In this case, we've got two brothers living in an urban fantasy world where magic has long since mostly disappeared, but it still exists. These two, after botching a resurrection spell they've used to try and bring back their late father for one last day, are stuck having summoned only his bottom half, so now they have to go on a journey to try and find a magic red MacGuffin crystal they can use to complete the spell and do it right this time, growing closer as brothers along the way. So basically it's kind of like an extremely family-friendly version of Full Metal Alchemist. The setting of Onward is very fun. It's sort of a hodgepodge of various high fantasy or D&D type tropes blended into and filtered through the banality of our more familiar modern world, which makes for some good comedic material. There's a reason Pixar keeps using this story formula, because it works, and Onward is a pretty solid version of it. It's maybe not quite as much of a tearjerker as either Coco or Inside Out, but it's also funnier than either of those two movies were, and I can personally relate more to the characters from this one, so I think I probably enjoyed it more overall. The two leads, played by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt respectively, are both likable and well developed. Everything about their story felt sincere and heartfelt, not only as individuals, but also together as brothers, and while the plot is obviously a tad predictable, the movie still manages to pull off a surprise or two by the end. There's really not too much to complain about with this movie. I have no major issues with the film. Maybe a few minor ones though. One of the side characters introduced during the second act is a bit on the annoying side, but they're not in much of the movie, so it never became a barrier to me enjoying it.
Oh no.
Then there's a big action scene towards the end that felt pretty contrived, like it was only really written in so the movie could have a more dramatic climax. On the one hand, this action scene really didn't need to be there and, like I said, felt pretty contrived, but on the other hand, it's out of this scene that we get one of the funniest visual gags in the movie, so ultimately I was okay with it. And finally, there are a whole bunch of little ways that the more cynically minded moviegoer could relentlessly pick apart various details of why and how certain aspects of this urban fantasy setting are supposed to actually function. Like, occasionally something will happen in the movie that if you dwell on it too much, you're gonna find things that don't make a whole lot of sense. And if that's what you're into, good for you, I guess, but those elements have been present in Pixar's creative settings since all the way back in Toy Story, where you find yourself questioning why Buzz Lightyear drops dead and pretends to be inanimate along with all the other toys in the presence of humans, despite not being aware initially that he himself is a toy. The correct answer is that you're just not supposed to think about it, because even though there's probably a few more of those types of moments in Onward than in most of Pixar's library, the real meat of the film, its story and characters, are all very good, so it really doesn't matter. One last thing I guess I'd say in terms of a sort of criticism of this film is that for a Pixar movie, the animation is maybe a little bit on the generic side. It doesn't look bad or anything, in fact, it's very good. I guess I'd just appreciate it if the studio could maybe start to play around and get a little bit more ambitious with some new, different visual styles, now that they've long since proven themselves the unequivocal masters of this type of CGI animation. Expand their horizons a little bit, you know, push themselves farther. But I mean, that's really not a knock against this movie in particular, more just a minor grievance with Pixar in general. Overall, this is yet another solid Pixar adventure film that I think any member of the family will be able to sit down and enjoy. I had a bunch of fun with it, and I don't see any reason why you wouldn't either. And if you like this video, you'd be helping me out a lot if you could hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of my latest stuff. Leave a comment down below with any of your thoughts on Onward, and check out some of the other great stuff I've got up here on my channel. As always, thanks so much to all of you guys for watching, and take care.